For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me.
And the next one?
There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there be ever one more dear.
Well, that's a pretty clear statement. So, you know, one who takes up the work, the service of spreading Krishna consciousness to others becomes very dear to Krishna. And like I said here, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. So that's pretty awesome to hear. That's pretty encouraging. We just take up the work to spread Krishna consciousness. And that's really the mood of Prabhupada so much. And then there's other organizations also that are Krishna conscious. And even other organizations that are following of Lord Chaitanya. But they don't all have that mood that Prabhupada had. His mood was completely, he dedicated himself to helping others. Whereas not everyone does that. Even there's groups of devotees, they just really look after themselves. They don't really take an interest in helping others. But Prabhupada's level of compassion for other living entities is next level. It's amazing. You know, he didn't care about himself. He's just he lived to help others to become happy through Krishna consciousness. And there's two classes of devotees. One's called Ghoshyanandi. Ghoshyanandi means they're wanting to increase the number of devotees. So they're trying to spread Krishna consciousness, preaching in one way or another. And another class of devotees is called Bhajananandi. Bhajananandi means, bhajan means they're worshipping. So they're doing their own worship. So they're off in the forest and they're chanting and worshipping the deity or whatever like that, reading the books. But they don't care so much about others like that. But Prabhupada's definitely in that Ghoshyananda category. Is very much trying to increase the society of devotees. Even Prabhupada said he created ISKCON in Nectar of Instruction. He mentions he created ISKCON for the purpose of devotees can associate with each other. And you might say, well, this verse is only saying 1868 that one who, you know, teaches this confidential knowledge to the devotees, but what I'm talking about is to the non-devotees. But an advanced devotee in their heart sees that everyone's a devotee, isn't it? We're all spirit souls. We're not the body, right? The first thing we learn is we're not the body, we're a spirit soul. And then the first thing we learn is what is the spirit soul? Is part and parcel of Krishna. We're the servant of Krishna. So we can look at that as 15th chapter of text 7, I think, 7 or 8. 15:7. Yeah. 15:7.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
So every living entity is part of God, part and parcel of God. So the advanced devotee knows that, so that ultimately everyone's a devotee of God. Just we've been covered by Maya, you know, and like it's saying here, we're just controlled by our silly mind. You know, if it wasn't for being controlled by our silly mind, we'd all be Krishna conscious. But we're so under the influence of Maya, and part of Maya is our crazy mind, like that, along with the false ego. Mainly the mind, along with the false ego, is what keeps us in illusion. No, that's mainly it. And that's why every yoga process, it doesn't matter whether you talk about Hatha yoga or Astanga yoga or Karma yoga, Jnana yoga, any kind of yoga, the central foundational part of it is you've got to control your mind. You know, because it's the mind when it's out of control is what keeps us stuck in the material world. And we can look at that 6th chapter text, I think 5 and 6 in the 6th chapter. Yeah, 5 and 6, yeah.
One must deliver himself with the help
One
of
must
his
deliver
mind.
himself
Yeah, go
and
deeper.
not
You go
degrade
deeper.
himself. Oh, one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well.
And number 6. Oh, hang on. No. No, wait. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, 6. Read that too. Yeah, one of you, deeper, you're frozen. Your picture's frozen. You there?
Oh yeah, it's my internet's dropping in and out. I'm here. For him who reads 6, text 6, is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah, yes.
For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain in the greatest
Enemy, yes, yeah.
will
And you can see even like in the beginning, the purport of this verse, the purpose of practicing eightfold yoga is to control the mind in order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission. Unless the mind is controlled, the practice of yoga for show is simply a waste of time. One who cannot control his mind lives always with the greatest enemy, and thus his life and its mission are spoiled. The constitutional position of the living entity is to carry out the order of the superior. As long as one mind remains an unconquered enemy, one is to serve the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. When the mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide by the dictation of the personality of Godhead, who is situated within the heart of everyone as Paramatma. Real yoga practice entails meeting the Paramatma within the heart and then following his dictation. For one who takes to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to the dictation of the Lord follows automatically. And this is one of my favorite verses, text 7. You can read out that. This awesome verse. Go ahead. One of you can have a read. Just the translation.
For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same.
So controlling the mind is so important. So important. And in our process, controlling the mind, mainly that's through chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's the time we spend every day giving us an opportunity to really control the mind. Just focus on Krishna. It's keeping us with Krishna. And like it's saying here, you know, if you control the mind, then you become directly connected with God. And that's in this text 7, beautiful verse. One who's conquered the mind, the super soul's already reached. So yeah, we can immediately, if we control the mind, connect with God. But if we get controlled by the mind, what it said in that purport, then what does that mean? To be controlled by your mind means to be controlled by lust, by greed, by anger, you know, like that, all these things, illusion, madness, like that is means we're controlled by the mind. So that's we control the mind means we come under the control of God. We, like it's saying here, we follow, saying here, the constitutional position in this text 6 purport in the middle. The constitutional position of living entity is to carry out the order of the superior. So like I said, we're part of God, so we're a servant of God. That's our nature. As part, we're meant to serve the whole. So it means we serve the superior, the whole, and that's God. So we're meant to carry out the orders of God like that. But we deviate from that when we get under the control of the mind. And see, our nature as a tiny, minute soul is that our constitution is to serve. So we can't escape that. So either you serve God or you serve your mind. But you can't get out of serving. So if you think, oh, I don't want to serve God, I'm not going to serve anybody. But I'm sorry, mate, you can't. That's your nature. So you're forced to serve your mind in the form of you become a servant of lust. And you see that the boys chasing after the girls chasing after the boy, or you're chasing after money, or you chasing after a position, power, fame, fortune. You're chasing after something, where you're a slave of the tongue. You're chasing after McDonald's and KFC, and people want to please their tongue by tasting so many things, smoking marijuana, cigarettes, drinking beer, wine, and so forth. So we're servant of the senses, servant of the mind like that. So we can't escape serving. If we don't want to serve God, then you have to serve Maya. Like Prabhupada said, you either serve God, G-O-D, or serve a dog, D-O-G. So it's just reversing, right? G-O-D, D-O-G. Same letters, but just reversed. So you can't escape. Either you serve God or serve dog, so like that. So this is an important part of the whole process of yoga, is you got to control the mind and do it different ways, and this Ashtanga yoga system in the 6th chapter, it's through the exercises, the postures, the asanas, and then pranayama, the breathing, and so forth, living in a solitary place in the forest, fasting. So that's their process they follow. We're very lucky. We've got a very easy process, and it's not difficult. Just like you went there and got all together 200 people and just chanting together like that. And what we did is, Friday night, the Bhakti tree. Very joyful process, isn't it? Such a happy process. That's a very tough and dry process, to go to the forest all by yourself and fasting and pressing your nose and standing on your tippy toes and all this kind of stuff. Very tough and dry and austere like that. But Lord Chaitanya is so kind. He's given us such an easy process. In one of bhajan by Lochan Das Thakur about Lord Chaitanya, he says, Parama Karuna Pahudoy Jana Nitai Gaurachandra Sabhavatara Sarashiromani Kevala Anandakanda. So saying Parama Karuna, that actually, Bhakti Mala, you have a god brother with that name in Wellington, New Zealand, named Parama Karuna. And it means supremely merciful. Parama is supreme, and Karuna is merciful. Who is supremely merciful? Nitai Gaura Chandra, Lord Nityananda and Gaura Chandra. So another name of Gauranga, Gaura Chandra, Chandra means moon. So he is just like very soothing, like the moon, just like the moonlight is very cooling and soothing. So very beautiful. So Lord Chaitanya is just like the moon, very cooling and soothing. Soothing on what? Not just making us colder like the moon does, but soothing all of our anxieties. In the material world, everyone's full of anxieties. Like the spiritual world is called Vaikuntha, means without anxieties. Kuntha is anxiety and Vai means without. But the material world is the opposite to Vaikuntha. It's Kuntha, full of anxieties, so many fears and anxieties. So Lord Chaitanya is like giving us relief from all those anxieties, so soothing and cooling like that. Parama Karuna Pahudoi Jana Nitai Gaurachandra. So Pahudoi Jana. So these two people, Doi means two, Jana. These two people, Nitai Gaurachandra, supremely merciful. Why is it saying that? That they are supremely merciful. Sabha Avatara. Of all the Sabha means all, Avatara means incarnations. Because of all, there's so many incarnations, right? Nrsimhadev we celebrate recently, Vrahadev, Kurama, Rama, you name it, there's unlimited incarnations. But of all the incarnations, Sabha Avatara, Sara Shiromani. This is the Shara means like the essence, and Shiromani means like the crown, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shiromani. Shiromani means like the crown. So like the crown jewel is like just the pinnacle, the topmost of all the incarnations. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are like the crest jewel, the pinnacle, the essence, the best of all the incarnations. Why? Because Kevala Ananda Kanda. They're giving path, Kanda, they're giving a process or a path which is simply joyful. Ananda. Only. Kevala means only. It's only or simply a blissful, joyful process. All these other personalities, you have to perform great austerities. You have to perform great austerities and requires surrender. Even Krishna, we look at that. It was a couple of verses before the one we did, 1868. So the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, 1866. So you can look at that while I'm talking, 1866, which Krishna here is demanding. He's demanding Savadaman Pritchaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vaja. Aham Tvam Sava Papabhyo Mokshiyashami Mashuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So he's going to deliver you like Lord Chaitanya is delivering. But before he delivers, first of all, you have to surrender. But Lord Chaitanya is not like that. He's so kind. He'll just deliver you first. He'll deliver you first. He'll deliver you first without any qualifications of being surrendered and everything like that. He's just giving you the nectar for which we're always anxious, the supreme mercy of love for God. He's just distributing love for God freely. It says he does not consider who is fit, who is unfit to receive it, who is qualified, who is not qualified. He doesn't consider anything. He just distributing freely the fruits of love of God. And that fruit of love of God especially is in the form of this coming together and chanting the holy names like what you experienced recently. That is the fruits of love of God, that we can come together and just chant. And there was no at the entry to that town hall, there was no one's checking your qualifications, was there? What qualifications you have? No, anyone and everyone can just come there and just chant. And immediately they can feel great ecstasy. And you mentioned they were dancing, right? People were dancing. And why are they dancing? Why?
They just moved to it.
It's just automatically, right? Because you feel so happy inside. It's just like when I remember anytime I go in the Mayapur temple room and there's 10,000 devotees there for Mangalarti, you just lift off the ground. There's just so much happiness in your heart. It's just like the soul starts to float off. Your soul starts to, your body gets brought up with it as the soul sort of floats off into heaven like that. You just automatically lift off the ground. With all those wonderful souls singing together, glorifying the Lord's names. And there's 10 mridangas and 20 kartals playing. And it's just so ecstatic, isn't it? You've all experienced it. You just go into ecstasy. Just,
Oh.
you're not even, it's above the mind. It's nothing to do with what you're thinking. You know, our mind is so many crazy things, but when you walk into that room of 10,000 people chanting, your mind just gets chucked in the bin. And you just straight into the spiritual platform like that. You know, like that. Such a wonderful process. Wonderful process. And what does that song go on to say? You remember? What does it say after that? Kevalananda Chaitanya Nitai, Sudrada, Vishwashakuri. Yeah, yeah. And then it's saying you just try to have faith in these two merciful personalities. Just try to have some shraddha, some vishwas, some faith. Just try to develop some faith that, well, they're so happy. These two persons are in ecstasy, just chanting and dancing. Just have a little bit of faith in them that they're so happy. Maybe if I associate with them, maybe I can also be happy. Yeah. And then he's just try to, you know, take advantage of what they're giving us. And there's one obstacle standing in between us and getting the mercy from them, that we're just so attracted to rubbish things, sense gratification. We're so attracted to rubbish things, you know, so we don't take advantage of, they're offering us so much nectar, so much mercy, but we don't take it because we're attracted to trash, basically, of materialistic life. We're attracted to the trash of materialistic life. So they're saying Vishaya Charya. They just give up this nonsense, external sense gratification, and just grab the mercy, just grab the nectars there. And then I remember part of the song that says that, what's the evidence of this? You know, that they're so merciful and everything, so merciful. Is saying that even the stone melts. And you can go to places in India where you can go to see a stone now in India, in many places, especially down through South India where Lord Chaitanya traveled, where Lord Chaitanya stood, the stone melted underneath him. Or he laid down in front of a deity in the temple room, and the stone floor like melted underneath Lord Chaitanya. You know, he can even make a stone melt. You know, so just the song is giving evidence of just how merciful he is. He's just oozing. He's just oozing with bliss that even a hard stone can melt like that. Yeah. And he even made the birds and the beasts cry. That's how radiant and divine bliss that he was. Even the, you know, can't get more covered in ignorance and passion than the birds and the beasts, but even the tigers and hippopotamuses and the forest that he would travel through, and the birds and the deers and everything would go into ecstasy when he traveled there through South India like that.
But I'm so unfortunate, I don't have that for it.
And then he finishes the song. And then he finishes off the song saying, I'm so unfortunate that even though Lord Chaitanya is so merciful, I don't have any attraction for this movement of Lord Chaitanya. And I can understand by that Yamaraj is punishing me like that. So very humble devotee. Yeah, if we're not attracted by Lord Chaitanya and his movement of Krishna consciousness, then we're the most unfortunate of persons, because you're never going to find anyone else that compares to Lord Chaitanya. You know, you're never going to find someone better to take shelter of, to serve, you know, to follow. You're never going to find anyone that compares to Lord Chaitanya. One time, a prostitute was sent to Haridas Thakur, to one a Brahmana was very envious of Haridas Thakur, and he employed a prostitute to make him fall down. because he was people were attracted to him so much that they weren't attracted to all these crooks, like these crooked brahmanas that were, you know, made money out of the public coming to them. And then but everyone went to Haridas Thakur because he's the real McCoy, the real thing. So they didn't go to all the crooks anymore. So the crooks would become envious, and they like one of them engaged a prostitute like that. So she came to him, you know, he's alone in the forest in a solitary place and chanting Hare Krishna, and the prostitute comes, really beautiful, and you know, and dressed in such an attractive way, and with the ankle bells tingling and everything like that. Any normal man would just fall apart on the spot. And and he said, and she proposed to him basically, I want to enjoy with you. And he said, yeah, sure, I'll enjoy with you. He's just tricking her. But just wait, I haven't chanted my rounds yet. Wait till I finish my rounds. So, and of course, he's always chanting, so he doesn't really finish his rounds. So when the whole night long he chanted, and the morning came, and obviously once the morning comes, you're not going to have sex in the daytime. Sex is what happens in the nighttime, right? So she just left in the morning, went to leave, and as she was leaving, he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I haven't completed my vow to chant, but I'm sure." Tonight I will. So come back tonight. So she came back again the second night, and the same story happened all night long, chanting. And she's listening, and he's going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, but with divine bliss and ecstasy. And so she's hearing him, so she's getting purified. So the second night, same thing. In the morning comes, sorry, I couldn't finish. Come, I promise you, I'll finish my rounds tonight. So come back tonight. So the third night she came. And then by the end of the third night, she'd now become free of all that lust and greed and anger and envy, all the mind and all crazy false ego. She got purified of all that by his association for 3 days. And she fell down at his feet and begged forgiveness. I'm so sorry. I was sent here on a mission to make you fall down. And I feel so bad that I did that. I came with a bad intention in my mind. But now I'm just so purified by association, and now I surrender to you. Please, can I become your disciple like that? So she actually became his disciple. So she became a great devotee herself. She was a prostitute, and she became a great devotee. And that guy that employed her was so peeved off. But he was a rascal. He's going to hell. And then after that, Maya Devi herself came to test Haridas Thakur. That means the woman in charge of actually in charge of the material world, of course, ultimately Krishna, but Krishna doesn't directly in charge of the material world. He's playing his flute in the spiritual world. He doesn't bother with all this material management. So he's engaged Durga Devi, Lord Shiva's wife. She has many names: Sati, Maya, Durga. So she's Maya personified. Most beautiful woman, completely the most beautiful woman in the material world, wife of Lord Shiva. So she'd heard about Haridas Thakur as so self-controlled and controlled his mind and everything. So she came to test him. So she came in her most beautiful form that would just smash any ordinary man to a million pieces with lust and so forth. And he didn't come under her control. He just Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And she was so impressed. She came to him and said, everyone else in the material world is under my full control except for you. She said, I'm so impressed. She said that, and that's because he was following Lord Chaitanya by always chanting Hare Krishna. She said that anyone that does not become a follower of Lord Chaitanya and practice Krishna consciousness in this Kali Yuga, I condemn them to remain in this material world for hundreds of kalpas. So that's the boss of the material world saying that in Kali Yuga, if you don't follow Lord Chaitanya, she's saying you're going to stay in the material world for hundreds of kalpas. Now, what's a kalpa? One kalpa is a Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga together, which the total is 4.32 million years, times by 1,000. That's one kalpa. And she said, if you don't follow Lord Chaitanya in Kali Yuga, I'm going to keep you in the material world for hundreds of kalpas. So, oh my God. Lord Chaitanya, save me, Lord Chaitanya. So I mean, we're so lucky. Every day I wake up thinking, oh my God, I'm so lucky to know about Lord Chaitanya. So we're so fortunate by Prabhupada's mercy has introduced us to Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement.
Srimanta Dvipa
Hmm.
in Navadvip.
So one of the islands we went to in Mayapur.
Actually,
Hmm.
there's that pastime in that Dvipa where Durga, or rather Parvati, she's worshipping Gauranga.
Yeah. So even the goddess of the material, Durga, she lives in one part in Mayapur and worships Lord Chaitanya there.
Srimanta means actually this.
Yes, Simanta is the red line in the lady's hair part in the hair, like that. That's the name of that island. So we're very fortunate to be able to follow Lord Chaitanya. He's so kind. He's just freely giving out love of God. Lord Chaitanya is compared to a king who has become intoxicated, and in the intoxicated state goes into his own treasury and grabs all the most valuable jewels out of his treasury house and walks onto the street and just hands them out to whoever happens to be there. Just hands out his most valuable, precious jewels like that. No consideration. If you just happen to be there. If you just happen to be there. So that's mercy, Mercy means you're given something even though there's no qualification. If you are qualified, that's not mercy. That's not a mercy case. Mercy means there's no qualification there. You don't have it. You don't have any qualification. Without even qualification, it's given to you. Like a beggar, right? If like we see so many in India, beggars. So some person in the public giving something to the beggar, what was that exchange? That was mercy. That means out of the compassion, out of the love in the person's heart. The beggar has no qualification. They didn't deserve. Means it's not that they deserve to. No, I haven't, but you should, yeah. It's not that they deserve to receive something. They haven't done anything to get anything given to them. But it's just out of the compassion and the love and the mercy in the person's heart that something is given, money is given, or food is given, or whatever like that. So that's just out of the love and the mercy and the compassion in Lord Chaitanya's heart. And Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the mood of, and this is the important part, Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So actually Radharani is so kind, so God himself in the mood of the greatest devotee, Radharani, and that is Lord Chaitanya. So there's no one more compassionate than Radharani, no one more compassionate than Lord Chaitanya, Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So anyway, we got diverted to talk about Lord Chaitanya, which is a good diversion. So yeah, it's very, very wonderful to talk about Lord Chaitanya. Okay, I feel good now after talking about Lord Chaitanya. My heart has cleaned a bit more. That's good. Okay, so let's take up where we're at. Well, let's offer respect to Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I have my respectful obeisances. I know I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened eyes. With a shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge, let me offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, entitled The Opulence of the Absolute. text number 15. So just to recap where we've been at, just finished the seed verses, and then 12 and 13, seed verses were 8 to 11, and then the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's explaining to us. And then 12 and 13 is Arjuna's realization. Having heard from Krishna, he is giving his realization. And what's his realization? That is that Krishna's God. Param Brahma, Param Dharma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. That you are the supreme truth, the supreme abode, the purest, like that. So he gives us realization that that Krishna is the supreme person of God. It is God. And not only Krishna says in 10.8 that he's God, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, I'm the source of everything, everything comes from me. So in 12 and 13, Arjuna says that Arjuna is saying that Krishna is God, and he said that Krishna is saying that he's God. But not only that, all the great sages are saying that Krishna is God. He's the supreme truth. And it mentions Asita, Devala, Vyasa. So he's quoting great authorities. So basically all the great authorities are saying the same thing, that Krishna is the main man. He's the supreme absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, the original person. It's mentioned Adideva, Ajam Vibhum in Arjuna's verses. Purusham Shastratam Divyam. You are this transcendental, everlasting person, Adidevam, the origin of all the gods, Ajam, unborn, Vibhum, the greatest, like that. So Krishna has all the qualifications of the supreme being, like that. And then in text 14, very important, what we did last week, Arjuna is saying that whatever Krishna says, he accepts it in truth. Now, this is very important, and we explained last week. This is the essence of what it means to be a devotee. You cannot be a devotee unless you're exactly lined up with Arjuna on this point. Arjuna was lined up on the point that whatever Krishna, he's the supreme authority. Whatever Krishna says, I accept it. With complete faith and trust, I accept that. Sarvam etad ritam manye. So sarvam means everything, not just I accept some things from the Bible, I accept some things from the Bhagavad Gita, I accept some things from the Quran. No, mate, you accept everything. So sarvam means everything, and ratam means is truth. It's all the truth. You don't take part of the truth, a bit of the truth. I'll take 10% of the truth, 50%. No, if you really want to be a devotee, like Arjuna is accepting everything. Everything is the truth. I accept everything you say. Oh, I don't like what you said, Krishna, now. I'm not going to accept that bit. I accept all the other bits you said, but this bit you're saying, I don't like it. Like that. So no, if you want to be a real devotee like Arjuna, then you accept everything, whatever Krishna says. Even some things you won't like, but you still have to accept it because he's your boss. He's the authority, isn't it? Some things are tough. Even like Krishna's saying, stop meat eating. Even I like meat, but I'm not saying I like meat, but say some people will say, I like meat, but I'm sorry. Krishna says stop. So then even though you don't like it, you have to stop if you want to be a devotee. If you don't want to be a devotee, then do what you want. But if you want to be a devotee, then if we have to follow in Arjuna's footsteps. So what's Arjuna's footsteps? You have to accept everything Krishna says as truth, and you have to accept it as truth. Oh, I don't believe what he said there. I don't accept that. I don't believe in that. I don't have faith in that. Well, then you can't be a devotee. Then that's called a faithless person. And then there's a verse. I'm just trying to remember where that verse is. It might even come up in this area. It starts off with Shradadhana Purusho. If ever you can remember a first line of a verse, but you can't remember where it is, all you have to do is look in the back. So we'll do that. And there's a list of the index of the Sanskrit verses. There's a section there where at the top of the page it says index of Sanskrit verses. behind there's an index, like you can look up yoga or meditation or living entity or whatever, that's on the index, the English. But then there's an index of the Sanskrit verses. So if you ever know the first line of a verse, but you can't remember where it is. So I know what the first line is. It's Ashradhana. Where's this index of? Now I missed it out. Now where did it go? I'm looking where the index is. It's such a massive index in this one. Oh no, the index of Sanskrit verses in this book, anyways, before the basic index. So before that, see if you can do it too. It's good for you to learn. So before the index in this book, at least, look for it says index of Sanskrit verses. Then look for Ashradhana. So in the beginning of that index, Ashradhana, A-S, Ashradhana. See if you can find it. Yeah, I found it. And then it's Ashradhana Purusha, and then it's 9.3. 9.3. So now we'll go to 9.3. You want to read the English for that one? 9.3.
Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world.
Yeah. So faith is very important. If you don't have faith in Krishna, it means trust what he says, then we're doomed, basically. What does it say? You return to the path of birth and death. So that's samsara. So you're pretty much never going to get out of here until you have faith. So, but like I mentioned last week, you don't want to have blind faith. Faith means you have trust in someone. As an authority. In this case, we're talking about authority. So you got to have some trust or believe in some authority, but you want to make sure this is the real McCoy. You want to make sure you've found the real authority, the perfect person, and you don't want to have faith in some foolish person that's not perfect. Because if you blindly or faithfully follow someone that's not perfect, then as we mentioned last week, you're going to end up in a ditch. And the saying goes, the blind leading the blind. So if a blind person holds on to another blind person and follows them, where are you going to end up? In a ditch. Eventually the guy's going in front of you is going to walk into a ditch and you're going to fall on straight on top of him, into the ditch. So you don't want to, and there's plenty like that. It said, this Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, and Prabhupada repeated, that this material world is a world of the cheaters and the cheated. So don't just, in ignorance, blindly follow a cheater, because you will be cheated, and then the cheater will go in the ditch, and you will also, as cheated person, following them, be in a ditch also. So that's not what's being recommended, talking about faith. With knowledge, we understand that Krishna has all the symptoms and qualifications of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth. He's the Father of all living entities. He's the original person. All the great authorities accept him. Brahma accepts him. Shiva accepts him. The four Kumaras accept him. Even Shankaracharya, who was an impersonalist, but still he accepts Krishna as the Supreme Absolute Truth. Anyone that's worthwhile, as any good character, accepts Krishna as the Absolute Truth. So we first of all use the knowledge that we have to understand who is the ultimate authority. Once you've pinpointed who is the ultimate authority, then we just have to accept. Then you just have to faithfully accept like that. No more resistance and arguments. All arguments over. All resistance over. All doubts over, like that. what the boss is speaking, the authority is speaking, and I'm the servant, just follow that. And that is the, you know, foundation of success of a devotee. And many kinds of devotees, you know. Hanuman was a devotee of Rama, you know, Arjuna is a devotee of Krishna, like that. So many different kinds of devotees. Garuda is a devotee in the form of a bird, you know. Hanuman is even a monkey body, bird body. So even in different species, you've got devotees in different species of life. But what's the common denominator? Prahlad is a devotee of Nrsingadev, like that. So many different kinds of devotees. And, you know, you could see there's a lot of differences there in those different devotees. But what's the common thing they have in common? They all have complete faith in whatever God says and completely trust, you know, whatever he says, just do it. If Narayan says something, Garuda just drops everything else and does it. If Ram says something, you know, Hanuman just does it. If Krishna says something, Arjuna just does it. You know, like Arjuna didn't want to kill all of his relatives. He didn't want to kill his guru. If anyone thinks that he was happy to do that, you know, you're an idiot. He didn't want to do it, but Krishna said, look, I'm sorry, Arjuna, but I want you to kill them all. And Arjuna just had to say, yes, sir.
Okay.
You know, that's it. That's what a devotee is. You just do what the boss says, what the master says. And we're a servant of God. You know, the master speaks, you know, the servant has to follow. So that's the common denominator. Otherwise, there's no common denominator. One's in the form of a bird, one's a monkey, you know, one's a general, a soldier, you know, another one's a priest, you know, like that, you know. So all different kinds of occupations, all different kind of forms like that. You've got devotees that are, you know, brahmanas, and devotees that are kshatriyas, devotees that are vaishyas, devotees that are sudras. They're all completely different. Men, women, young, old, but should be the common denominator? As you have complete faith in God and you just follow what he says, like that. And God is saying to one devotee, you clean the toilets, and you just do it. Another one, you go and fight on the battlefield, and you just do it. Another one, you weigh the incense on the altar, and you just do it. You cook the feast, so you do it. You know, whatever it is, you grow the veggies, milk the cows, whatever it is, you know, just do it. You go and and Prabhupada told one of his devotees, you know, Brahmananda, you go to Africa and preach. And oh my God, that's not an easy service, you know, wild Africa, you know, like that. You could get roasted alive, you know, they're cannibals and stuff, you know. So, you know, but he went to Africa and preached in Africa. And to Tamal Krishna, he said, go to China. Oh my God, you know, that was like, you know, life-threatening. You know, other devotee, you know, go to Russia. You know, one devotee said, go to Pakistan. Oh my God, that was just after the partition. Just after the partition. I mean, it's like so many devotees nearly died. You know, some actually did die, you know, trying to carry out the orders of the spiritual master like that. But that's what it means to be a devotee. You know, you have complete trust in your authority and you just follow what they say without any doubts like that. And, you know, like it says in that verse, you know, 14, neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand. So, yeah, you know, that's very hard. You can't understand Krishna as unless you're a devotee. If you're not a devotee, whether you're a demon or a demigod, even if you're a demigod, but you're not a devotee, you can't understand. And we pointed this out last week. Lord Brahma, there's a pastime there. He couldn't understand who Krishna was. He stole all of Krishna's cowherd friends and cars for a year. And even Indra's a great demigod, the king of heaven. He couldn't understand Krishna. He was so annoyed with Krishna that Krishna stopped his worship, took his dad away from worshipping Indra. So Indra tried to kill Krishna and all the cows and all the cowherd men. That's big misunderstanding like that. So even demigods can't understand Krishna. The only qualification to help you understand Krishna is you have to be a devotee. And what does it mean to be a devotee? Is this: I completely accept whatever you say in truth, and follow that. Does that make sense? Do you want to say anything about that?
I think, it would require a great deal of faith to carry out every order. Because I know Arjuna was he was a warrior anyway, but to kill people, I think it's a big thing. We just kind of say it. We say it, but what he had to do was, pretty
Don't worry,
crazy.
Bhaktimala. Krishna's never going to ask you to do that. See, but
Well,
you're
I
looking
hope
at.
not,
But see, look,
because I'm
Arjuna,
gonna
that's his job. He does that as a job. It's not. You're thinking that's difficult because you've never been trained to do that.
No,
But he's been trained from knee high to a grasshopper from 5 years old to do that. I mean, he's first of all started killing animals in a forest to practice, and then he's gone out on the battlefield and he's already killed like millions of people. He had, even before the Battle of Kurukshetra, he had fought even against the demigods and Gandharvas. He's fought demons and the hellish planets. He's fought the Gandharvas and defeated them. I mean, he's not new to fighting and killing. You're looking at from your perspective as a cook and pujari. If Krishna asked me to do that, I'd have a heart attack. Krishna's not going to ask you to do that. But if Krishna asks you to cook the feast or dress the deities, then, or clean something, then you can do that. So he's not going to ask some ridiculous thing that you can't do like that. But sometimes there is, very different. And when you said that, made me think of Prabhupada, because when Prabhupada's guru first met him, he said, "You're an intelligent young man. You should go to the West. Well, you should preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the English language. And this will do good for you and good for others." So that was the very first order from his guru, even before initiation. And, to basically preach Lord Chaitanya's movement through the Western world in English. And he's just a newly married man. He's thinking, I can't do this. This is too hard. But but the thing is, he didn't reject it, but he accepted that now I can't do it, but I want to do it, but I'm not ready to do it. So if you look at Prabhupada's biography, the very first book was called A Lifetime in Preparation. So what is that title of the book for? Lifetime in preparing for what? For preparing to carry out that first instruction of the spiritual master. But he had to prepare himself. He had to, establish his family and get all that done and everything, his children grown up and everything, and also develop himself as a preacher, and also start to write books in English, which he did even before he left India. He had started Back to Godhead magazine in 1944. In the Second World War, he started Back to Godhead magazine. And then he had already written a small book called Easy Journey to Other Planets. And then he wrote the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam in 3 parts, even before he went there. So he was preparing himself, becoming a better preacher, a good preacher and everything like that, in English and everything. And then finally he carried it out. But that was, 1922, I think it was 1922, 23, he heard that from his guru, and he didn't physically carry it out until 1965, so that's 20, 22, 23 years it took him to carry out that instruction. But the important point is he never thought, oh, that instruction is a load of rubbish. This is nonsense. I'm not going to do this. This is just stupid. He wasn't faithless. He had faith in the instruction as that's what I should do, but I can't do it. I have to become ready to do it. I want to do it, but now I just have some limitations. I have to work through that. But in his heart, he wasn't resisting it, but he just was honest that I can't do it right now. So, but that's the heart of a devotee, that you accept the instruction, whether you carry out immediately or there's a delayed, response, but still that you've accepted it faithfully in your heart. This is all right and true and correct, this instruction. And now I just have to work on my own ability to follow it like that. So yeah, good thing that you brought up. But yeah, don't worry, Arjuna's not going to ask you to go onto the battlefield. And I love teaching, and whatever I learn, I like to teach it. So I'm actually, Prabhupada said that when he left that 50% of his work is not completed, his mission. And devotees asked him, what do you mean, Prabhupada, that you haven't re-established Varnashram? Or, oh, no. He said that, no, they suggested, do you mean you haven't finished the Srimad Bhagavatam? Because he hadn't finished it up to the 10th canto, he'd done part of it. And he said, no, that wasn't it. And eventually he said that my 50% I haven't done is I haven't re-established Varnashram Dharma. So what's Varnashram Dharma? That's the 4 social divisions. Your Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, and that's your 4 spiritual divisions, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. So that is the original culture, which is God's system. So God has set up the system. If you look in chapter 4, text 13, it explains Chaturvanya Maya Shristam. So Krishna says in that 4:13 that this is his system. He set up a perfect system. Without God, us living entities, we can't do anything. We're hopeless cases. We can't function without him. So we just heard about how Paramatma's in our heart when we're looking at that 6th chapter about the mind, that Krishna's in our heart as a Paramatma. So in our heart, Paramatma's guiding us. And also he sets up the perfect social system for us to live a peaceful, prosperous life. If it wasn't for that, we'd be completely in chaos. So he sets up a perfect social system. And the analogy of the Varnashram Dharma is just like you got 4 parts of your body, 4 main divisions in your body. So there needs to be 4 main divisions in society. What are the 4 main parts of the body? Anyone know? One is the head. You have the head as giving direction, just like your head gives you direction, right? Your head is giving you direction. And so society needs direction. What's that? The Brahmanas. So the Brahmanas are an intelligent class. They're the intelligent class giving direction to society. Just like your head gives, as intelligence is in the head, giving you direction. And then you have your protective part of the body. That's your arms, protecting the body. This is for protection. So the Kshatriyas are there. They're protecting society. They're protecting society. And then you have your stomach, very important. That's feeding your body. So the Vaishyas are the producers. They're producers. They're producing food, milking cows, vegetables, grains, whatever. Money, and modern day Vaishyas, making money or whatever. They're producing something, making money. And then you have the legs are getting the work done. You're able to work and move somewhere, go somewhere with the help of your legs. So the Sudras are doing the work, the laborers, they're doing the work. So just like your body is in 4 divisions, so society also needs those 4 divisions to work. If you didn't have a head, it's not going to work, right? If you didn't have arms, it's not going to work properly. You didn't have a stomach, you didn't have legs. So all these things are necessary. And so Krishna has set up this system, Varnashram system. It's the perfect system. So I was excited about that Prabhupada wanted that to be reestablished. And now it's in chaos. It's there, but it's broken. In every society, you have teachers. In every society, you have administrators, like leaders, administrators. They're like Kshatriyas. In every society, you have Vaishyas, business people. In every society, you have laborers, Sudras, like that. But it's dysfunctional. Because what are the teachers saying? that it all started from a big bang and we evolved from monkeys and there's no God and everything came from chemicals and everything. So what they're teaching is a load of rubbish. And we have leaders, but they're supposed to protect us, but they're exploiting us, taking all the taxes, and they just don't protect us at all. It's just, and there's wars going on all around the world. It's getting out of hand and no one feels safe to do their work and everything. Too much anxiety and fear and everything, and completely unprotected. And then the Vaishyas are supposed to protect the cows, but they're killing the cows. Like Prabhupada came to New Zealand, he said New Zealand's a nice place except for one thing: we kill so many cows. So our division that's supposed to protect the cows and produce food is like just killing cows. And the food is also grown with so many toxic chemicals and that it's just like killing people with cancer and everything. So yeah, it's not very good production. And also Prabhupada point out so many times, you're supposed to be producing food, but you're producing rubber tires. You're producing sugar to put in your tea and coffee. You're producing nuts and bolts. And, now microchips and everything. Now we're going to be producing robots. And, and what is it? What is it? Robots and what's all that? What do you call that stuff? My mind is fizzled now. Overloaded. Now, what's that? What do you call that? Huh? What do you call it? No, what's that? Artificial intelligence. Yeah, artificial AI. Yeah, now we're going in the direction of AI and robots and stuff. But yeah, this is the wrong kind of production. This is the wrong kind of production because what we really need is food. So everything's dysfunctional. Everything's dysfunctional. And the laborers, they don't want to work. Like one night, lovely farmer where I get some milk from, I said, why don't you get someone to help you? He said, no one wants to work because they'll get free money from the government. So no one wants to work. So there's a new class. It used to be unemployed, and now they have a new word for it. It's called unemployable. Unemployable. It's not possible to employ them. They're unemployable. They're just so lazy and hopeless. They don't want to work because they get free money for so long and they just smoke marijuana and waste their life. And they're fat and lazy and
No, there's many are thin also.
like they're just hopeless people. They don't want to work. They just go and buy KFC and smoke marijuana and they don't want to work. So the whole Varnashram is there, but it's completely broken and dysfunctional. So I'd love to, I've taken that up as my mission. I'd love to set up and to do that. Prabhupada said to create Varnashram colleges. So this is a different kind of college, a university to teach all these different, how to be a Brahmana, how to be a Kshatriya, how to be a Vaishya, how to be a Sudra. And the point I'm getting to is that for me to teach all those things, I have to do them because like we've talked about, you have to be an acharya. That means you have to teach by example. Like if I'm going to tell someone to stop smoking cigarettes, first thing I have to do is stop smoking cigarettes myself. Like that. So the other day someone said, a person asked Gandhi, can you tell my kid to stop eating sweets? And he told the kid after 6 months. And the mother said, why did you wait 6 months? Because he said, first of all, I had to stop eating sweets. So that's a real teacher. First of all, you practice what you teach. So that means if I'm going to teach to be, like Kshatriya, I have to do the work of a Kshatriya. So now we're doing that. We're learning how to do self-defense and how to use different weapons and so forth like that. And Vaishya, of course, I've been doing gardening for a long time. So we work with cows and we work with plants and so forth. And laboring, well, we do that. I also clean the toilets and clean the floor and everything like that and do all kind of. Now today I did some plumbing today. I connected up some pipes and helped the electrician and everything like that. So I just do manual work and everything. So that's what we're learning to do, all these things. So in the future we can teach those things like that. But yeah, getting back to Bhakti Mala's thing, yeah, Krishna's not going to all of a sudden ask you to go onto the battlefield, Bhakti Mala, don't worry. But we do need people like that in society. You do need people like that that are going to, today's world is a very dangerous world. You definitely need, you know, people to protect you. And, you know, if we expect the government to protect us, you're going to be waiting a long time. You're going to be dead before that happens. They're not fulfilling that role. So, you know, we need to sort out something else. Actually, it's said, you know, the 4 necessities of the body: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So those 4 things especially, we should be more self-reliant, self-sufficient in these activities, you know, that we should be not depending on other people for our own food and water, obviously, and not depending on other people for shelter, and not depending on other people for, like, you know, mating means, like, you know, have your own companionship as well, companionship. Friends, family, whatever, and then defending, don't depend on other people, you know. You know, if you are, some intruders come to the house, you ring the police. Good luck, you'll be dead before they come, you know. So, you know, like that,
No.
you need to.
Gail said she's going to protect us. Bhaktimala, you, me.
Good. She's the local Kshatriya. We all need a local Kshatriyas. Everything should be done locally. If you're depending on people from some far away, I mean, let's face it, no one in the USA or England or whatever gives a stuff about you in Australia, or gives a stuff about us in New Zealand. Even the people in Canberra don't give a stuff about you, and the people here in Wellington don't give a stuff about us. So we need to just work locally, act locally. And like that. Today, Gianty actually, I know I'm late, but we'll just finish off on this. Gianty, there was a local gathering in the community hall. We have a community hall here in Takahui. And some locals organised to come together and talk about how we can be connected on a radio system. That means even if the internet's not working, and the electricity is not working, internet not working, we can still talk to each other. It's called, you know, ultra high frequency radio, or, you know, like CB radio and all that kind of stuff. So I was busy today with the plumbing, so she went there. So I'm waiting I'll hear what she learnt. But yeah, how we can be connected and help each other. If I have a problem, I can talk to the guy down the road and he can help me, and vice versa. This is a lot more you know, going to function better and work better than depending on people that, you know, don't really care about us like that. So for me, that's exciting, you know, learning how to do all these things, and because I want to teach all those things, you know, and these are very practical things. And you can say, oh, well, none of that's necessary because Lord Chaitanya just said chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead. Yeah, I agree with that, but you see how long you can chant Hare Krishna for with an empty stomach, mate. Without a roof over your head, mate. With some guy pointing a gun in your head, mate. You know, see how long you chant Hare Krishna for. You know, so we have to deal with these things. I mentioned to Bhakti Mala before Deepa joined in, that Prabhupada said first become conscious, then become Krishna conscious. So that's what it means to become conscious. So we have to sort out all these bodily requirements. And Krishna's a practical personality. He's the most practical personality. He's not just saying just chant Hare Krishna and you just ignore everything else, just sleep under a tree and, you know, eat worms and something. No, he's setting up society, you know, so that we can fulfill all our material requirements: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And then on top of that, then you chant Hare Krishna and then go back to Godhead. So that's what I like about Krishna consciousness. It's very scientific, very practical. It's not some, wow, what an amazing philosophy, but does it work? No, it's not like that, you know. Wow, that sounds really amazing, but it has no practical value. Like a lot of the new age kind of philosophies, they sound amazing, but you can't actually really apply them in your life like that. They don't work. They don't work. Not for the masses of people, maybe for one or two. But this can work for everyone. Krishna has given us the perfect system. We all do our little role in society. Someone's a Brahmana, someone's a Kshatriya, someone's a Vaisya Sudra. You all work together and you're all God conscious. You're all doing it to please God. You're all doing your work to please God like that. And then everyone gets what they need. Everyone has a way to maintain their body and everything like that, maintain the family, and is peaceful, everything's required. And it's the icing on the cake. You chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead. So yeah, I'm really excited about trying to get that happen because I've seen,
You
modern
first get somebody to help you, then you do
Yeah.
what you want.
I have one slave here, but she's a bit rebellious.
Yeah. The whole class was about, oh, you surrender, don't ask questions, just follow, and I'm not going to do that.
She didn't get the purport of the class. She
No.
just has to do what she's told.
Forget it.
And I'm also a slave, not that one person's a slave and not that one person's a slave and the other person isn't. That I'm also a slave of Prabhupada. I just dedicated my life to try to carry out Prabhupada's thing, and it's hard work. It's not easy. It'd be a lot easier for me to wave incense in a temple, but and just give a few classes. But actually, Prabhupada wanted a lot more than that. So, and it's a strain. But like they say, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. So yeah, there's some difficulties there. But yeah, like it said, Krishna, no one's more dear to me than he who does all this hard work, taking some risk. Anyway, I don't want to go over time too much. Anyway, lovely to be with you both. Would either of you want to say anything?
No, I just wanted to, with what you want to do, Abhi Prabhu, you have the intention. You know this. I mean, you have the intention. You have the picture in your mind of what you want to do, and I don't know. I mean, I'm talking from just my own little um experiences that I've had. Sometimes when you have it and it's sincere and it is in line with Krishna's plan, or what Krishna, what it happens. It somehow works itself out. So Jayanti, don't stress so much, it'll work itself out.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But
Yeah.
Prabhupada had to prepare for
Yeah.
decades, 20,
Yeah.
22, 65, 43 years or whatever. I'm thinking, oh my God, if it took Prabhupada 43 years to prepare, it's going to take me lifetimes to prepare. Anyway, we try to make our little baby steps. But yeah, it's a big
from
mission.
what Deepa just told now, it just reminded me of how you said you had this vision of a place which was off the grid, which was going to have water coming from the mountain, all those kind of things. When if you wanted a piece of land, this is what all you wanted in it, that kind of a thing. You had a vision. So I mean, that's pretty much what she's saying, that but it happens in Krishna's time. It doesn't happen in our time.
Yes.
That's I mean, and I mean, when I say our time, it could be in our time, but whether it's next year or whether it's 10 years down the line, we don't know.
And when it happens, it'll be even better than what you thought.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's true. Krishna has given even better than what. But my ultimate vision is to have Varnashram colleges all over the world. All over the world, these Varnashram colleges. Yeah. That's exciting for me.
You never know, Hey.
And just
if
spread the
I'm just
wave
thinking, if
of
you,
Lord
I don't know,
Chaitanya's. Yes.
I've been listening a lot to Shri M. He's not ISKCON, but he's speaking a lot of what we speak about. I mean, the Gita and all this. I mean, I'm quite captivated by him, and his, and I've been following. And I'm just, you have this vision of global in money or whatever, but he is kind of he speaks it all around the world. And my goodness, it could happen. My God, I'm so excited now. Yeah, it could. It could.
Yeah, well, the real, I mean, I personally feel I'm
I'll help
completely
you connect.
incapable and
I
hopeless to
really,
achieve anything, but the real hope lies, and I know that Prabhupada wanted it, so that gives me some hope that it can be done, because I know that his unlimited power and mercy is backing up this, because I'm trying to line up what I want with what he wants. So that's the only hope. Otherwise, I think, oh, I can't do it. I'm just useless, good for nothing.
oh,
But the hope I have is in his mercy, and he's connected with his guru, and he's connected ultimately to Lord Chaitanya and everything. So that's why I'm trying to plug into the parampara, the disciplic session, and that's where my only hope lies, that we can achieve something. In any case, our job is just to try, as the Bhagavad Gita says in so many places, do your work and don't be attached to the results. That's a very important message of the Bhagavad Gita. You do your work and don't be attached to the outcome, to the results. That's not in our hands, that's in God's hands. So that's the thing, whether there might not be any Varnashram colleges, but I have to try, because that's what Prabhupada wanted. And, when I heard that that's what he wanted, I thought, oh, maybe I could do that. I know about growing stuff and all that kind of stuff. I like to teach and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so yeah, we all need to find something that excites us. Krishna consciousness should be very exciting to us. You need to find something that you can put your enthusiasm and be passionate about, in Krishna consciousness. Just like around here, I find a lot of people, they're passionate about hunting, or killing animals, so they're passionate about it. They're passionate about the wrong thing, but we should become passionate about something for Krishna, to spread Krishna consciousness in some way like that. We all need to find something that gives us a thrill. There should be, a thrill we get out of Krishna consciousness. Whether it's singing for Krishna, or doing art for Krishna, or cooking for Krishna, or growing flowers for Krishna, or whatever, making rath yatras for Krishna, or building temples for Krishna, or something, it's something that we can really put our heart, because that's what bhakti is. Bhakti means it's with love, with our heart, not just mechanically. Hare Krishna, and like a parrot chanting, right? Prabhupada would say like that. No, not mechanically, but put our full love in our heart. That's what Krishna, he doesn't need anything from us, actually. He doesn't need temples or money or anything. He's got everything. But he wants our love, from our heart. So that's what we're trying to bring out the heart. Because unfortunately, we put our heart into stupid material things, like people's hearts and their social media or something, or in making money or whatever like that. But, put something related to Krishna. Anyway, it's unlimited, but we better draw the line. We're better talking for it. Lovely to be with you both. Thanks for joining in.
You too. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Take
Thank
care. All the
you.
best. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
thanks. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Hare Krishna.